I guess in general, it's always a matter of, uh, uh, you being comfortable with using a black box because these, tools ultimately at the end of the day are black boxes to some extent. Obviously, as a researcher, one can control what goes into it in terms of data sets and even helping it design specific features and tweak the algorithm settings. But for that, one needs to understand how these things actually work. And so one is probably more comfortable at that stage with respect to somebody who doesn't really understand the algorithms. In addition to that, an experienced researcher can actually test the output of these algorithms using out of sample testing and also more sophisticated, so like rolling window simulations that are particularly important in finance, understanding overfitting and really making sure that the output that these models generate are actually generalizable for the future. And as novice or non-researcher, these concepts are harder to grasp. And so the danger really lies in the fact that one may think that this is like an easy win and will just blindly use the output that these models generate, for their own investments or other, applications within a corporation.
Yes, I think what would be I think going back to a point that you made earlier on, Martin, particularly around ChatGPT, I think that people who understand or maybe understand the principles of machine learning and AI, but are not experts, tend to kind of think of it possibly or hope it's a silver bullet that's going to solve all their problems or give them this insight out, with very little effort. And I think that one of the key things to remember, regardless of whether we're talking about ChatGPT or deep learning in general, or any kind of machine learning technique, is that there is the right, you have to use the right tool for the right situation. For example, you wouldn't use deep learning, for example, or neural networks to look at something where the data set is limited, where you don't have a lot of data. It just would give, bad results. And similarly, sometimes for certain parts of the investment process, for example, normal statistical techniques are better than using machine learning in general, for example, or a mixture of both. So I think that the big key takeaway really is that whatever you use, they're just tools that allow you to get better at your job, but you still need to use them in the right way. And from a black box perspective, I think that because we get this conversation a lot, in reality, humans are also a black box, particularly discretionary traders who are making decisions based off of intuition, experience, previous trades. And that decision-making process, looking at the data, what they're seeing in front of them and basing a decision based off their experience, is also a black box. It just happens to be within ourselves. So I think that there's always an element of trust if you're an allocator or an investor around believing in those black boxes. And I think the more work and expertise you have around using them will give you the best results.